Yo, welcome to No One Cares, the podcast where I should probably shut up. Welcome to my room. If you could see, if you're watching this, you could tell like we are not in a studio. Times have changed. Well, only for this episode, but times have changed. I'm in my room. I'm very comfy. Um, dude, we've had a hard time filming this fucking podcast this week. Just couldn't lock down the studio time, and also Los Angeles is on fucking fire right now. If nobody knew that. So yeah, I'm obviously filming this pretty recently to when it's coming out because everything's on fire and the winds are taking the fires everywhere. And where I'm at right now, we are circled in flames, except we are not in flames. So I'm very lucky to be, you know, not burnt. But anyways, welcome to No One Cares, the podcast where I should probably shut up. I am here this week with more topics, more things to talk about. And obviously, like, let's just get right into it, guys. Oh my God. The fire's making me all choked up, so I'm sorry. The smoke is in the sky. Okay, let's just get right into it, man. The first thing I wanted to talk about, the fucking film Nosferatu. I just watched Nosferatu the other day. This movie has been so hyped, you guys. Like everybody on the internet's talking about Nosferatu. Okay, let's. We've talked about this a little bit. I need to talk about it more. Fucking sequel remake. It's not a sequel, it's a remake of a 1920s silent film. So, why would they make a remake of a 1920 silent film for a 2024 audience? 2025, I guess now. Well, I guess I'm still trying to answer that question. We talked about the sequel and remake plague that's been going on right now, and this has to be added to the list. I wanted to ask the audience, why did we need to make Nosferatu so horny? Why did we need to make that movie so fucking horny? I really don't have the answer to it. I saw Nosferatu fuck like 3 times in that movie. One of those times was like a telekinetic fuck with like a 13-year-old. And I don't think I needed to watch that. And I don't think I wanted to watch that. And I got out of like a 2-hour movie. And the last thing that I thought when I left the theater was, why? It was just why. Like, why did I watch that movie? Why do people like that movie? Here's my problem. Here is my fucking problem, you guys. There's this trend recently where people are like, a movie is so cinematically achieved. Like, not, God, no. A movie is so, let's just say, cinematically appealing. Okay, there's this thing where people are going, the cinematography's gorgeous, the atmosphere's great, the fucking lighting's perfect. The atmosphere, it's not a planet, it's a movie. And I need to watch that movie. And I need to be there for 2 hours watching that movie. So forgive me if the atmosphere is not something that I'm necessarily caring about. Okay. I don't really understand why people do this thing where art, like a chunk of art, has to be good and who cares about the rest. Why? Okay, so I understand that movies are a visual media. I totally get that. So yeah, maybe the lighting and the cinematography, it needs to make sense, it needs to fit in the world, and it needs to be good. That all being said, it's like a movie is more than just its atmosphere. Okay, a movie is more than just its cinematography. A movie is a story, it's a plot line, it's a 2 hour thing that I need to digest. And I don't think that things like cinematography or lighting direction or whatever necessarily makes up for a lack of all the other things. You know what I mean? And so when we go into a movie like Nosferatu, where it's a movie from the 19 fucking 20s, like the storyline's not necessarily modern and the pacing is not up to today's standards also. So if I'm going into this movie, I need to care about something else besides the cinema fucking photography. You know what I mean? Like, I need to know that I'm going to watch this movie and I'm not going to get an hour and a half in and be like, wow, I'm so bored. Like, so bored. And nothing about this is impressing me. However, I'm sorry for my little being. Like I said, the smoke is killing me. So, anyways, I'm just saying that like the acting was really good in this movie. The acting was so good. Lily Rose Depp, phenomenal. Like honestly, phenomenal. Willem Dafoe was phenomenal. Phenomenal. Nicholas Holt was phenomenal. Everybody did great in this movie as far as acting. It's just like we take a film as a whole, you guys. We got to take a film as a fucking whole, and we have to look at something and be like, yes, the lighting was great. Yes, the cinematography was gorgeous, but and a big, big but, and a big, big Nosferatu but. I had to watch so many people fucking this film, and also like 80% of this movie, I'm gonna say 80% of this movie was taking place in a bed. Whether it was fucking, whether somebody was sick, whether somebody was dying, whether somebody was asleep, so much of this movie took place in a bed. And so, what's the atmosphere, babe? What's the atmosphere? The atmosphere is a room. Is that like the atmosphere is nighttime? I just don't. I don't. I'm not subscribed to that whole idea. I'm really not subscribed to that whole idea. And if you're somebody who's like, well, it was an interesting movie. There was so many interesting facts or like interesting points. There was so many artistic choices. I don't care. Like I don't care. And let me translate to music because I'm a music guy. And so I get like a film bro who's like, "Oh my god, like these aspects of the movie are so interesting and so new and so cute." But like music wise, I think of like a band like My Bloody Valentine. And if you haven't heard My Bloody Valentine, the chances are you probably aren't gonna like them, to be honest. Like grandma's watching this, grandma, you are not gonna like My Bloody Valentine. But they're a band whose like sound is super interesting. Their sound is super crazy and different, and it's washed out, and like you can barely understand their lyrics, and like the mixing is all on top of each other, and it's a really interesting thing. So would I call like a band like that with such an interesting perspective and like a different approach to music? Would I call it good music? And that's controversial, but like on surface level, no, because I couldn't show the majority of the population that band, and I feel like if I showed the majority of population that band, most of them would not like this, and most of them would be like, "What the fuck is going on?" And I don't think you can call something necessarily good at that point. You can call it interesting, and you can call it niche, and you can say that it has an audience, and it does. Like I love My Bloody Valentine, but good is just such like a weird perspective, and like a movie like Nosferatu, it's I wouldn't consider the movie good, but I don't know. I guess that's a question of it's a question of like is something good because the majority likes it or is something good because it has some sort of artistic value? If it does, I don't know how this conversation got so deep so quickly, but if it does, I have a hard time finding the artistic value in Nosferatu. I really did. Like I just don't understand what I could have gained from that movie. I don't understand what new information was given to me, and if I don't need to get new information from movie, I don't necessarily know what I left with that I felt better about myself for. You know what I mean? Like I didn't leave that movie and was like proud to have seen it per se. So I don't know. I guess that's just like my qualm about it all. I don't know why people really like it. Reviews are in the sevens out of like tens, like 70% ish out of 100, or like 7 stars or whatever. Sometimes a little bit lower. And like I also think we've gotten way too liberal with giving out our ratings to things. Everybody, if you feel like mid about something, everybody gives it a 7 stars out of 10. That's not mid. That's like 7 out of 10. That's like upper half. Like that's the upper percentile. If you feel mid about something, you should give it a 5 stars out of 10. And for some reason, that's fucking controversial. But like we do this thing where we like grade things based off of like the school grading system. So we're like 70%. That's like a C. That's like mid. Nobody else fucking does that. Like nobody else does that. So why are we doing that? Like it's out of 10. So if it's mid, why would I not rate it a 5? So at the end of the day, Nosferatu, I probably gave like a 4. And that's low, but it's like less than mid. I thought it was less than mid. So I don't know, sue me, I guess. I don't know. Like, I'm not a fucking movie critic, but I'm also not getting paid off by Nosferatu, so I don't have to give it a 7 out of 10. You know what I mean? It was not worth a 7. So that's that's my Nosferatu rant. Yeah, oh, dude, we're already 10 minutes in. Holy shit, we're already 10 minutes in. I'm gonna take a break. I was gooning over the Nosferatu and how horrible it was. So yeah, I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Everybody, chill the fuck out. I'm back. I took a little break. I adjusted my throat, so hopefully last time there will be like this will be you won't hear that all the time. So here I am. Anyways, okay, my next topic. So I've been going on the Instagram Reels, and look, maybe I need to get the fuck off of the Instagram Reels because I have such a skewed perception of the human race right now, and I have lost so much faith in humanity. But I love the Instagram Reels, so not going anywhere. But anyways, I've been seeing on Instagram Reels there's this huge like resurgence in this idea called stoicism. Stoicism is like a theological belief, and not theological, that means like religious, I think. It's philosophical belief. And I have to bring it back to Rome for like half a second, so chill. But I there was this guy in Rome, he was an emperor, his name was Marcus Aurelius, and he wrote this book called Meditations. And Meditations is about the philosophical belief of Stoicism. And he didn't make it, but I think he popularized it, and it's getting really popular again within straight men, pretty much. And this philosophical belief is that if you go into everything in your life with like a level-headedness and like an even temperance, that you will live the most fulfilling life that you can live. And I think that's true, and I do respect it a lot. But I've had this thing recently where I'm starting to understand that what people are taking away from Stoicism is not necessarily what it was founded upon or what the true ideals of it are. And I think we're doing that a lot lately in our modern world where we're like taking these really old beliefs and we're trying to incorporate them into our new world, into this world of like technology and social media. And it's really hard to apply. And so, what I talk about with Stoicism, what I mean about all of this is Stoicism is this idea that if you kind of like shut out everything that's not in your control, if you come at it with complete neutrality, anything that's not in your control, you can like live a much happier life. And I do think that that's true, like I said. But men in particular are starting to take this idea, and it's like we always find a fucking way to like warp this shit, you know? And they're starting to warp it into this thing where it's like if I'm super cool and mysterious, if I'm like stoic, and if I don't react, and like if things don't get to me. And I think we've turned on this thing of masculinity lately, and this is honestly going to be a little bit more of a not serious topic, but I just wanted to it's on something that's on my mind, so it's less tiki ha ha and more like I would like to hear like what people have to say about these things. But I don't know, we've just gotten to this point with masculinity where the more you hide about yourself, the more cool and mysterious and all this that you seem. And we've gotten to the point where people are like really scared of their emotions, and maybe scared is not the word. We've gotten to the point where people are really ashamed of their emotions, and a lot of men will be like, well, I don't cry, well, things don't make me cry. And they're really proud of things like that, and things like stoicism like really promote things like that. And I am just completely in a whole other world of thought than that. And I'm just completely like so against all of this. So I've gotten a little irked with this stoicism making a resurgence. Um, I just have this problem lately where we as a human race are like so ashamed to be human. And what I mean by that is that we're just constantly trying to outrun humanity. We have like all these things where we're like trying to live to 100, trying to live to 120, and have the most flawless skin you can have, and ignore all of your emotions, and it's just and have a good job and settle down and like make a good wage for the rest of your life. And all these things that when the human race was conceived, when the human race was evolving, when the human race was becoming more than just like an animal, these things didn't matter to us. You know what I mean? And we're very far off from that. We're like thousands and thousands of years far off of that, and I understand that. But at the same time, it's like this stoicism thing. Why should we ignore our emotions? And of course, like I said, it's like smart to go into things level-headed, and it's smart to not. I've survived a lot of my life by these events that I can't control, and I just kind of go, well, it is what it is, and I got to move forward with it no matter what. And I think stoicism promotes living like that, and I can agree with that. But at the same time I cry, you feel me? And at the same time I get mad, and I get mad but I don't fucking swing, and I cry but I don't fucking jump off a bridge. And I just think we have so many things in our modern world that we've tried to incorporate to like fight the human evolution. It's just, I think we're so ashamed to be human lately. I just think we're so ashamed to be human, and that's such a scary staircase that we're walking on, and we have no idea where it fucking leads right now. And from where we are right now, from what I could see, like the world has changed so much in just the last 20 years because of social media and technology. Like 20 years, so much human evolution has happened really fucking quickly. And we're getting to the point where I feel like we're outrunning our evolution, and we're getting to a point where we are just constantly, what we're searching for and striving for is to just be no longer human. But at the end of the day, that's just what we fucking are. It's just like, why are people trying to live to like 100 and fucking 20 or whatever? Why are people doing that? And maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but why? Our bodies aren't meant to do that. And we can probably get to a point where we can evolve to that point, but that's going to take thousands of years. That's surely not going to happen right now. And I just think with things like stoicism, the reason they get me thinking about things like this is that there we don't really have philosophers anymore, which is kind of like a weird thing. Is there was a point in time where we had philosophers and painters and all these classic like jobs and crafts per se. Philosophy is a craft, and we don't really have that anymore. We've gotten to a point where now everyone's a fucking marketing manager or whatever. Like, what the fuck happened to philosophers? What happened to painters? Like, no, that's Kevin from marketing. You know what I mean? And I have to go to Silver Lake and get a drink and ask somebody what their job is, and they go business, and I'm like, okay, well, all of you guys are business people. Like nobody does anything else anymore, and so we have to turn to these really old beliefs and these old ideals that don't fit in modern world. Like they just don't fucking fit in the modern world. And we've changed so much, and there are so many things about stoicism per se, because I keep bringing it up, this is the catalyst to all this thinking of mine. But it's like we have something like stoicism that in its time in the Holy Roman fucking Empire probably had more of an impact and probably had more of a everyday application, where people were getting the fucking plague, and where your neighbor's house burned down because their kettle or some shit. You know what I mean? Like things were, when things were out of your control, they were truly in that era out of your control. Like it was just a chaotic world with like a lot of chaotic things going on. And now we're in a world where you can sit in your pretty room and film a fucking podcast. And it's just like we need to look through our world with our lens, and we need to look through our lives with the human perspective and not with some other fucking worldly perspective. Like, I don't know, there's the only philosophical belief that I've ever subscribed to, and I've studied a lot, man. I try to, you know what I mean? And I've only really related to existentialism, which is under the idea that the human race was put here with zero purpose. And whether it was a God that put us here, whether biology put us here, we're here with no purpose at all. We aren't here to serve some master. We aren't here to spread peace and love. We aren't here to enrich the earth. We are here for no fucking reason. We're just here. Just like that fucking rabbit over there is like here to survive. You know what I mean? That's the only reason we're here. And some people can look at that and get really sad or nihilistic and be like, well, if there's no purpose, then what's the point of everything? But I love existentialism because it's under the belief that if we're here for no reason, then you can do infinite things with your life and you can make anything of it. And having no purpose almost means you have infinite purpose. And I love that idea because it's so much easier to incorporate in your everyday life. Whereas a thing like stoicism is an encouragement of the way you live your day to day. Like it's not a big picture thing. It's not looking at your life and saying, how do I feel about this? It's looking at your actions and saying, how should I move forward with each one of these? And I think the difference of that is stoicism is so much harder to incorporate in your everyday life now. And these men who are flocking to it, they just seem to be using it as a crutch to not have to address their feelings, to not have to apologize for their actions, or to excuse not having feelings for things that are affecting them. And I don't think that's a smart way to go about your life. And I think that being human is such a fucking blessing, and being alive is such it there was just such a small probability that this was going to happen to us, and here we are, living and breathing. And being appreciative of all the things that come with being human is to me the best way to live your life, whether that be your emotions or your relationships or yourself and your body and your physicality. Like, just be happy that we have all these things. And I think the more you shut out and the more you try to ignore, the more things tend to get convoluted and confusing. So, I think you should do research on Stoicism if you're listening to this. And I think you should do research on different philosophical ways of life. And because, like I said, we don't really have philosophers anymore. And so it's smart to go back to these old ones and see, how did people view the world when there was so much less information about it all. I think it's smart to go look at those things. But, I'm not saying you have to subscribe to anything. And I just think, if there's something that's telling you to be anything more or less than human, it's probably smart to evaluate that and just pick a chunk out of it that you like versus try to incorporate the whole thing in your life. I don't think the modern day stoicist is even living fractionally to how the Holy Roman stoicist was living. So it's like, I don't know. I just, why subscribe to something that just is hard to incorporate in this world? I don't know. Maybe that's not the lesson. I don't know what the lesson was. I was really thinking, I don't think I even have a lesson. I don't think you should be listening to my lessons, but I just was something that's on my mind. And, it's something that I've been seeing. And if you're curious about it, I think go check it out. I think you should definitely find some kind of philosophical belief that you want to live by. And mine is existentialism. So go find something. If you're a fucking nihilist, you're a nihilist. If you're an existentialist, you're an existentialist. And if you're a stoicist, you're a stoicist. But I'm going to judge you for it. Okay. Well, I mean, that's another 10 minutes, man. I'm going to take a break. Maybe get something to eat. Ooh, what if I did? I don't know. Okay, well, I'll be back. Hi, I just heard. No, I'm back. Yeah, I'm here, guys. Okay, last segment. I just had like a broad one, honestly. Like, it was a broad idea that I kind of just wanted to talk about as a whole, and maybe it's because it's New Year's, but I just want to talk about like making things that you're proud of. Um, which again is like a very vague idea, but what got me wanting to talk about this was the other day I had a day off and I was in my room and I just spent the day like pursuing my endeavors. And I have a lot of like hobbies and things that I enjoy doing. I write scripts and I paint and I make music and I just do anything I can get my hands on. And it just gives me a product at the end. I just like making things. And so I was doing that in my room the other day and I like cycled through like every single one of my endeavors. I did like 30 minutes, I'd say, at each of them. And by the end of it, I had like a couple like tiny products per se, like a tiny little song or like a tiny little like passage of writing or whatever, doesn't matter. By the end of it, everything sucked. Like everything sucked. Like the music, the song sucked. Like the little passage sucked. Like everything was just the little painting sucked. Like everything was just booty. And I was sitting there and I spiraled. Like I low key spiraled because of it. I'm just not used to. Ooh, this sounds gross, but I'm just not used to being bad at something. Like especially my hobbies. You know what I mean? Like I don't think I'm bad at them, and I'm definitely no pro for sure, but I'm not trash. And it got me really upset to like see all these products that I had and know that they weren't good. And it just made me think, and it made me want to speak on it. There's like so much that I do with my life, and there's so much that I make, and I am about to be 25 in a couple months, and we're in 2025. So I am just getting to the point, kind of, where, and this might get deep, or it might get silly. Who knows? You know, the future's ours. God. So I'm just getting to the point where I'm like, okay, what does one want out of their life? And what does one want out of these hobbies and stuff? Like, do I want to be successful with them? Do I just want to do them for my own good? Do I want to share them? Um, and and that's what's just gotten me thinking. I'm a thinker right now. Maybe I'm a philosopher, babe. Maybe I'm the next Marcus Aurelius. Probably not. Probably fucking not. But I'm on this bed and I'm yapping. So I'm just saying, like, I was doing all these things and I just wasn't proud of myself at the end of it. And now I'm getting to the point where I'm just trying to find pride in the things that I do, even if they're bad. So I said that so like I was changing the world with that sentence, and I did not change the world with that sentence. Anyways, I don't know. I'm just trying to understand what it's like to be bad at something again. That sounds so corny, but it's because I haven't really got out of my comfort zone in a long time. And going into this year, I think it's time for me, and I'm bringing it up because I encourage others to get out of their comfort zone in one way or another. I decided that this year I'm going to start sports. And like, if anybody even knows a little bit about me, like, you probably think I just got possessed. But no, I really want to start a sport this year. I don't know what sport yet. I'm still kind of like figuring it out. I own a basketball. It's over there in that closet. Um, and I try with basketball and I'm really bad. And that's like kind of why I don't do it. And I see like a group of people playing sports. Like, I went to Austin, Texas, with my friends recently, and we went to the basketball courts or whatever. And my two friends went and played basketball with like this whole group of people, and I sat on the sidelines because I don't like doing that. Like, I don't. I feel so uncomfortable in a group of people playing sports that I'm not good at. I feel like somebody's going to yell at me. I feel like I am the weak link on the team. I feel like I am sacrificing our win just so I could play this little game that I don't even like that much. And that really, I just don't like that feeling. And so going into 2025, I feel like I just need to be okay with being bad at things because I'm not usually. And I don't know. I hope that it helps creep into these other hobbies that I'm doing that I feel unsuccessful at this point in time. Um, and I think the main thing all around is that I want it all to circle back to this podcast. I have like big dreams or whatever, guys. I have like hopes and goals. And with those hopes and goals, I want to like with this podcast, this is something I do feel good at. And I did have to record this episode 3 times, like spoiler alert, because I didn't feel good about the first two. But I do get to a point where I can do something and feel good about it. And this is something I feel good about. And so I hope that if I go and I play some sports every once in a while and I make a fucking painting that sucks and I could just do these things that I feel really shit at and I get comfortable doing that. I feel like with the things I feel good at, I will get way better at them and get even more confident because with this podcast, I want to kind of incorporate all those other things into it, if that makes sense. I want to have guests on here and talk to people. I would think it would be so cool to have like live music on here one day. And I think it would be so cool to have like my friends with different hobbies, like have things that I could showcase on this and interview people and have funnier segments and have more serious segments. And, coming up soon, I'll have like, there's going to be really big changes to this podcast, you guys. Like, I've had people reach out that are, we have plans in place now. Like, we're going to make this fucking something. And I don't know. So I feel like this is something that I'm going to go whole heart into this pod and really put all of my energy into making this really good. And then while I do that, I think I need to be bad at some things and be okay with being bad at some things so that as time goes on with this, I could, you know what I mean? I hope I'm making sense, but I don't know. For anybody out there, I guess, that's listening to this, whether it be one person or 50,000, it's like, we all fucking suck at things, guys. We all fucking suck at things, and we all suck at so many things. You know what I mean? And I just think it is so okay, and that is so not revolutionary of me to say that. It's just I suck at a lot of shit. And the other day I had a really hard day with being shitty at things I like doing, you know, and we all just have those fucking days. And some days we have a day where we need to record a podcast 3 times over because we fucked it up too many times. And end of the day, man, I'm just happy to be alive. And I'm what I want to say, I guess, to everybody watching is that you guys right now are here for the shittiest time in my podcast, and you guys are here for when I'm the worst at it, and I feel not that great at it. And I'm really appreciative of anybody who sees the vision and knows where this is going to go and can tell that I have some sort of plan in future for this that will be entertaining and fun to everybody. Anyways, yeah, so I guess that's the podcast today, because I'm at about 30 minutes, and it wasn't super serious. It wasn't like super tee hee ha ha. I feel like maybe today it was more like today we thunk, and I love thunking. So thank you for everybody who came and thinked with me. I am in my bed looking crazy, and you know, we just made it through, and hopefully, and not even hopefully, like for sure, within the next few weeks, there's just going to be some crazy changes to this pod, and it's just going to get better and fucking better. And I suck at things right now, but the future is so beautiful. And yeah, guys, thank you for tuning in today. Be happy to be fucking human. I think that's all. And you know what? At the end of the day, no one fucking cares. So, talk to you guys soon. Okay, bye.